Next we got Clefairy. Obviously, if you know Clefairy, you would know what they are. Clefairies are noted for using Metronome, which is the most random move in the entire Pokemon universe. In fact, okay, I won't get onto that, but basically, before Shaman and Darkrai were actually announced, and before I had them, my Togekiss actually used Shaman's Seed Flare twice, and it used Dark Void once, but unfortunately it didn't work. It missed. But I was pretty surprised to see those two moves. I was hoping for Judgment, but okay, that was short, so I might as well say that. Clefable. I prefer Clefairy, to be honest. I mean, no. Clefable just looks like a really weird looking Clefairy. And I'm being honest with you. Alright, so now we get to one of my favorite fire types, Vulpix. Now, Vulpix, I'm not a big fan of her 4th generation. I'm sorry, I really call Vulpix a her, and then I'm probably going to call Ninetales a he. But basically, Vulpix is sprites from the Sinnoh regions are horrible. I mean, it just doesn't look proper. I don't know. But I love its HGSS sprites. They're a lot better. I love that they changed them because I would have hated if they kept that same sprite. Ugh. Then Ninetales, who has a pretty cool shiny sprite, which is blue. It's a white fox with blue tipped and red eyes. I mean, how cool can that be? Ninetales is one of my most common misspelled Pokemon. I always thought it was called Ninetales, but in reality it's called Ninetales as a fairy tale, not as, you know, he has 9 tails. Yeah, I kind of got misleaded on that. I always called him Ninetales with, you know, with the AI, but after a while I soon discovered that it was actually LE instead of AI. Kind of odd, but that's Pokemon for you. I mean, some people misread Pokemon. And then time for Jigglypuff, whom is kind of cute. I mean, its HGSS sprites make it a little cuter. But when I first saw Jigglypuff, I thought it was similar to Clefairy, to be honest. Then we got Wigglytuff. Okay. Oh man, what was that? What was his phrase in the Mystery Dungeon series? Not in the Blue Rescue Team series, but the Explorer series. Oh man, I was gonna reference that, but I can't remember it. Fudge. Next we got Zubat. Now, everyone hates Zubat, mainly because they're so popular. They're in every single Pokemon game. In fact, I think they're never out of a Johto. Not a Johto. I'm sorry, I was looking at Johto decks. They're not in. I mean, ever since they were introduced in Kanto, I think they were in every single Pokemon game since. Like, they're not ever out of the Pokedex. I don't know if they're gonna get rid of them in 5th generation, but I guess some people can hope. Next we got Golbat. Now Golbat just looks like a huge bat with huge wings with a huge mouth that he never closes. Look at that. It doesn't look like he's closing his mouth ever. I guess that's one way to get flies or food. Next we got Oddish, who just looks like a plain ordinary weed, I guess, if it's on the ground. Oddish is just a grass poison type, nothing too special, I guess. Gloom is next, and Gloom, I don't know, Gloom is just, I don't know, I'm not a big fan of Gloom, to be honest. I mean, I don't know, it just looks like it's drooling, and I know that's actually, what is it? Oh, it's actually honey. I know it's supposed to be honey, you know, I kind of forgot what it was, but, I mean, I don't know, I'm not a big fan of Gloom. I mean, I'm fine with most grass types, but Gloom is the one exception I don't like. Vileplume, and it has a heavy flower on its head, by the way, I just wanted to mention that, which is why its Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum sprites makes it look like it's leaning forward, which is why, because it says that it has a heavy flower on its head. I forget where I read that though. Where did I read that at? I don't remember. But Vileplume, I guess, is kind of cool looking, but I think it's, yeah, it's really slow. But high special attack, I mean, it has good defense. So I guess it could be a good wall if you really wanted something like that. Then, time for one of the worst kind of Pokemon is a bug grass type. Yeah, Paras. Or Paras, or... How in the world do you pronounce it? I always pronounced it Paras. Like Paris. I mean, I think that's how you pronounce it, but I'm really not 100% sure. I mean, again, this is probably one of the weakest bug types out of them all. Wow, it's really slow. Who would use this thing anyways? I mean, it barely has any good stat. The only good stat is attack, and even then, that's in the 70s. We have Parasect, which just looks like a huge mushroom that a crab is living in. I don't know, I always thought that, I guess. Wow, Parasect is actually called Parasect in Japan. That proves how bad it is, because it still has that dirty, and it still has those stupid big stats. I mean, seriously, it's one of the worst Pokemon in the Kanto region, I believe. Next, we got Venonat, who is a bug poison type, as most bug types are. The one odd thing about Venonat is its shiny sprite, which only changes its eyes, which is blue. I don't know why I mentioned that, but whatever. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of most bug types. However, I'm kind of partial to Venomoth, as it's kind of pretty cool looking, even though I think it's pretty weak, because most bug types are weak. Well, no, it has some average stats. I mean, its speed is not too bad. Well, yeah, its speed and special attack is pretty good. Its special defense is okay. I guess the only downside is its defense and attack. And, well, that's about it. Next we got Diglett, which is a ground type. Now, Diglett, I don't know, he's kind of cool looking, I mean, but some people wonder what's underneath a Diglett and a Dugtrio, which I'm going to get into in a little bit. But Diglett is kind of cool looking, but even then, like I said, I'm not 100% sure what is underneath the Diglett or Dugtrio. But one thing is for sure, all Nintendo really did for the evolution of Diglett was just make 3 Digletts in one hole. And one odd thing is that throughout the entire series, Dugtrios were always looking mad, but for some reason they changed that in HGSS. They look like normal Digletts. An error on the sprite, maybe? I don't know. I mean, seriously. You would think if they were going to keep that, they would do it, but whatever.